Good morning. All right, well, we started this hike at 5 a.m. and I've been seeing every morning that the clouds are pretty low, so the goal today was to get on top of the clouds and do some landscape photography. And lucky enough to say that's exactly what happened. Show you guys a sneak peek here.
Welcome back to the channel, guys. This video is a follow-up from last week's very quick landscape photography vlog at Mount Woodson. In today's video, we're gonna jump into Lightroom and I'm gonna show you guys 3 things you can do to really bring out those colors when you're editing your photos. Let's take a look at 2 images and jump right into it. So you'll notice this first one here. Let's go ahead and reset it so we can take a look at the raw file. From here, you can see that the colors are already there. You see the yellows, you see the purples, some of the blues. The colors are already there because it was for sunrise. So what we want to do is edit our photo and really bring out the vibrance in those colors, right? So all I'm going to do, and this is not normally how I edit my photos, but all I'm going to do is just click on the auto. And let's just see what it looks like. Great. It's added a bit of contrast, done a few things. We can see the colors are a little bit better now with that. So my first tip to really bring out some color in these photos is to drag that Dehaze tool a little bit up. Now the Dehaze does exactly what you think it does. It dehazes the photo, which in this case I do want. I usually like to dehaze my photos. You'll see that I'll bring it up to about 15, 20. You'll start to see a difference there. 5, 10, 15, 20. The photo starts to get darker naturally. We're dehazing it, so I could bring up the exposure after this a little bit higher. But you'll notice the colors look a lot better once I dehaze the photo a little bit from the raw file. My general suggestion with this tip, and any other tips I'll ever give you, is to be really subtle, okay? Tell me how many times you've gone on Instagram and you've seen a photo that looks like this. All the time. All the time. It's way over edited. The sky does not look like this, ever. And so what we're gonna do is we're just gonna reset it. I usually like to start at 10, see what it looks like at 10. Maybe I'll bump it up to 20. In this case, probably 15 to 20 is where I'll leave it. The second tip that you can do to really bring out the color in your photos is to mess around with the hue. As I mentioned earlier, you can see the purples, the yellows, the blues. There's a lot here, but I wanna make these really bright yellows just ever so slightly more red to really fit with the overall sunrise tone that I'm going for in this photo. So I'm going to drag this orange slider here to the left and you'll start to notice that the yellow disappears, and I'm going to drag it all the way just to exaggerate so you can see what it's affecting, and it starts to turn them into red. Same deal here, right? Maybe I'll start at 15. Let's see what it looks like there. I like that. If I go too far, it starts to look unreal. This is very red, and it's almost like it's trying to blend on top of the yellow that's there. So I'm probably going to leave this at around 15 and bring up the yellow as well to maybe about 10. Make that a little bit more orange. Let's drag this to 20. That looks a lot better than what we just had, where it was very yellow. And the last tip is to be specific with your saturation. So in this case, I'm gonna click this button here, hover over, and it'll show me that I'm mainly gonna be affecting the oranges if I drag this up. So I'll grab this, bring it up a little bit, and I'm gonna exaggerate by doing it a lot so you can kind of see. Saturation is way too much, right? But I can see here that I'm affecting some of the red, mainly the orange. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click 7 here, and let's do about 13 color there. You can play around with these sliders, but again, my general advice and suggestion to you is to be very subtle. You wanna make the colors pop while they're still real. If I look at a photo, anybody, this goes for anybody, if you look at a photo and you can tell it's edited, you've overdone it. The whole point is to really edit your photos to make them look real, make them look natural. For most photographers, right, there's obviously a lot that you can do as a photographer. And I ramble. The main goal, at least for me in my photographs, is to keep the realness of what the sunrise looked like there. And just make those colors pop just ever so slightly. Bring them up, make them feel real, vibrant, but not fake and overdone. Dehaze, hue, saturation, those are the 3 tips that I can recommend that you start playing around in with Lightroom, especially if you're shooting sunrise or sunset. You'd be amazed how much better these photos can look by playing around with these sliders a little bit. I'm not going to go into this today, but for more experienced photographers and editors, you know that you can, for example, apply a dehaze to only a specific area of this photo. We can do this by applying a radial or a graduated filter. I'm not gonna go through that in this photo. I can tell you I did do that for this photo because we're gonna save that for a different time. If that is a technique that you want me to cover and show you guys, make sure you leave a comment down below. Let me know. Again, more experienced photographers know that a lot of the edits that you do are more specific. So right now what we did with the dehaze, the hue, and the saturation is we affected the entire image. Once you get comfortable with that, you start to say, hey, you know what? I want to drag up the exposure of only a certain part of my image, and I want to change the hue of only a certain part of my image. You get a lot better with it. I'll leave this video here. Hopefully you learned something. If you have any questions, let me know down below, and I'll see you guys next week.